Mr. McLeod, Mr. McLeod, two things are going to happen. You're going to answer my question, or you're going to jail for summary contempt for not complying with the court's request. Do you, Mr. McLeod, understand that the maximum penalty for the charge against you is 3 years in prison and or $1,000 fine?
I don't understand the charges.
Mr. McLeod is in contempt of court taken into custody.
Really?
From the very beginning, this hearing was all over the place. Mr. McLeod is facing a serious charge, assaulting a police officer. But instead of handling it properly, he keeps saying the court has no authority over him. He interrupts constantly, raises his voice, and throws around strange legal phrases that don't make any real sense. Still, the judge stays calm throughout. Every time Mr. McLeod tries to argue or take things off track, the judge brings it back in order. Eventually, the situation gets so out of hand that the judge has no choice but to send him to jail for the night. It's frustrating to watch, but also oddly entertaining, because Mr. McLeod acts like he knows what he's doing, even though it's clear to everyone else that he doesn't. If you enjoy real courtroom moments like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. Now let's move on to the next part. What really stands out here is how patient the judge is. Despite all...
Understand your right to a lawyer, including a court-appointed lawyer?
I understand that.
Okay. And do you wish to represent yourself instead of having an attorney?
Yeah, I'm here by special appearance, and I will be representing myself.
Okay. I'm required by law, before I accept that waiver, to do a couple things. One, advise you of the maximum penalties that you could face for the charges that you're in my court for. Resisting, obstructing conservation officers is a high court misdemeanor punishable by up to 2 years in prison and or $1,000 fine. There's a habitual offender second notice that's been filed by the prosecutor, which would make that a felony punishable by up to 3 years and or $1,000 fine. And marine safety operating while intoxicated is a misdemeanor punishable by up to 93 days and or $100 to $500 fine. Do you understand the maximum penalty for the charges against you?
All the outbursts, he gives Mr. McLeod plenty of chances to cooperate. It's actually impressive how calm he stays while Mr. McLeod avoids answering, even the simplest questions. So what do you think? Is this man genuinely confused, or is he just trying to get out of trouble? Let me know in the comments. This was such a real and unexpected moment. At one point, someone in the courtroom couldn't help but laugh, and honestly, it captured what most people were probably thinking. It's also no surprise that Mr. McLeod's...
Okay. Well, that's fine. Do you understand the maximum penalty that I just explained to you?
No. So
hold on. I can't let you represent yourself until I establish a couple things.
Well, I need to establish a couple things too. Honestly.
Hold on. Well, I can't let you represent yourself until I establish a couple things, or I'm going to be in trouble.
Okay.
Do you understand that the maximum penalty that you could face for the charges that you're here for is up to 3 years in prison and or $1,000 fine?
I don't understand the nature and cause of the action against me. So
what is it that you don't understand? Do you not understand how long 3 years is, or how much the fine is that I've articulated? Can you tell me what it is you don't understand?
The nature and cause of the action against me because you don't establish jurisdiction.
That's not what I'm asking you right now. Well, I'll let you place whatever objections you want on the record, Mr. McLeod. I promise you that. Okay. Can we just go one step at a time? So, do you understand the maximum penalty that you could face if you're convicted as charged? 3 years in prison or $1,000 fine.
Well, I have another question because the statutory jurisdiction doesn't exist under the Constitution. So, in order for me to defend myself, could you please tell me where the published rules of conduct are for criminal statutory jurisdiction, or where I can find the nature and cause of this jurisdiction, or how this information exists?
No, I don't even understand what you're asking.
So you're saying this is a statutory jurisdiction under what? The statutes of Michigan, correct?
Mr. McLeod, I've told you what my jurisdiction is.
General jurisdiction.
The people of the state of Michigan voted to convene a constitutional convention in 1961.
Sure.
There was a constitutional convention in 1961 and 1962. They proposed a state constitution. The voters of the state of Michigan ratified that in 1963. Article 6 establishes the judicial power. And the circuit court is a court under that judicial power of Article 6 of the state constitution. And so you're here in my court. I have subject matter jurisdiction over those crimes. I have personal jurisdiction over you because you've been alleged to have committed them in our county. That's my jurisdiction. So, Mr. McLeod, do you want to represent yourself? Do you understand the maximum penalty that you could face of 3 years in prison and or $1,000 fine?
1 second.
I can see why his attorney would, Drew. Oh, shit.
Hang on, someone in the prosecutor's office is not muted. I'm going to remove you from the meeting at this time.
Oh.
Prosecutor's office is generally allowed to attend to observe.
Lawyer ended up leaving the case. Mr. Mloud was flipping through random papers like he expected to find a hidden rule that would magically solve everything. But everyone in that courtroom, the judge, the prosecutor, and the public, knew how this was going to end. Do people who act like this really think the judge will suddenly say, "You're right, case dismissed"? It's like watching someone try to play a game without knowing the rules. And that closing line from the prosecutor, it said exactly what needed to be said. By the end, the judge had clearly had enough. But instead of reacting emotionally, he just stuck to the facts. Mr. Mloud kept reading from papers and quoting things that don't exist in any real law, while the judge calmly pointed out what was actually true. It really shows how important it is to have someone in charge who knows the law and can keep things under control. Honestly, it became difficult to watch. Mr. Mloud was trying to act like a lawyer, even though he clearly didn't understand how the system works. He refused legal help, even though the Constitution gives him the right to a free public defender. And judging by how he was dressed, money didn't seem to be the problem. Instead, he wasted everyone's time quoting made-up ideas and flipping through useless papers. The judge gave him multiple chances and explained things.
Mr. McLeod, do you understand the maximum penalty that you could face?
1 second. Okay, so in enforcement of mere statutes, judges of all courts do not act judicially and are thus are not protected qualified by legal immunity. That's Owen versus the city. I just want to state a few things for the record since you're claiming this is a jurisdiction under statutory law.
Hang on. Mr. McLeod, can we back it? Look at me for a second. Can we talk here?
I challenge subject matter jurisdiction and nothing can go forward until that's addressed. You're saying
I did address it and I denied your objection. I have subject matter
jurisdiction doesn't
jurisdiction.
exist under the Constitution.
Your objection's noted. So, Mr. McLeod, do you understand? Let me explain to you.
Sure.
Sometimes, as I said, people might want to represent themselves, but let's say they have limited intellectual.
Clearly, but even the most patient person has limits. What's really surprising is how confident Mr. Mloud was. He acted like he had discovered some secret way to beat the system. But the truth is, the law is very clear. Answer the charges, build a defense, or work out a plea. That's how the process works. He's facing a felony, something that could lead to serious prison time. But instead of focusing on a real solution, he's caught up in ideas that courts have dismissed for decades. In fact,
I have to establish that they know what's going on before I can allow them to represent themselves. I'm required to establish, do you comprehend, do you know the maximum penalty that you could face if you're convicted as a result of this charge? 3 years in prison or $1,000 fine. Do you understand that, Mr. McLeod?
So I'd like to state for the record that
Mr. McLeod, stop.
court can be
Stop, Mr. McLeod. If you don't understand it, I'm going to revoke your right to represent yourself and have an attorney represent you because I can't establish that you know what you're doing. So do you know the maximum penalty that you would face?
I've challenged this court's jurisdiction. You haven't established it yet. You said you got a statutory jurisdiction which doesn't exist under the Constitution. I'm trying to figure out where I stand with this. So I can't answer any of your questions until you answer some of mine.
That's not how it works. Are you refusing to answer my question?
No, I'm
Then answer it. Do you understand the maximum penalty that you face for this charge?
So judges who become involved in enforcement of
Mr.
these
McLeod,
statutes.
I have a demand, Mr. McLeod.
Involved agency. What's that?
You know, I understand you want to object to things, and you're going to be allowed to object to things, okay?
Sure.
But we have to do things one step at a time. And I do have other cases today. I'm not going to entertain this for like a whole hour. I've got other cases going on. If you want to dig in your heels and just make this real complicated or real difficult, We could do that, and I can hold you in contempt, and you'll go back to a jail cell for a while.
No, Your
and then
Honor,
we'll do
I don't wish to be held in contempt, I just wish to exercise my Sixth Amendment right.
That's fine.
And
So before I can let you under,
I can
before I
cite
can,
laws, I can cite laws that will show you that the exercise of a right can be converted into a crime. I'm trying to understand the nature and cause of the action against me. You're not clarifying enough to where I can comprehend it, as you say.
you comprehend the maximum penalty that you would face.
I'm not answering any of those questions until you establish that this is a court of the Constitution, has jurisdiction under these jurisdictions.
I established it. I told you. You might think I'm wrong, and you can appeal
There's
it.
no
to the
such thing
Court
as a
of Appeals.
statutory jurisdiction.
Mr. McLeod, let me make this simple for you. Do you ever watch, let me make this simple for you.
Sure.
I'm going to ask you this question one more time. One more time.
Okay.
Two things are going to happen. You are either going to answer my question, or I'm going to hold you summarily in contempt, and the court officer will bring you to a jail cell, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. You understand that?
So,
Mr. McLeod,
contempt for what?
Mr. McLeod, two things are going to happen. You're going to answer my question, or you're going to jail for summary contempt for not complying with the court's request. Do you, Mr. McLeod, understand that the maximum penalty for the charge against you is 3 years in prison and or $1,000 fine?
I don't understand the charges. All right,
Mr. McLeod is in contempt of court, taken into custody.
Really? That's it. Protecting my rights is what I'm sorry. You guys are
Follow unconstitutional orders.
Follow law orders, not constitutional at all.
Mr. McLeod's in contempt, he's sentenced to 1 day in Mr. McLeod, your sentence is 1 day in jail. We'll reconvene tomorrow and get you
This is on the
notice.
Constitution. I did nothing wrong.
Judge even said none of what Mr. Maloud is saying applies, and he made a note that could be used later, possibly in a mental health review. It might be entertaining to watch, but there's a sad side too. Many people fall into these belief systems thinking they're above the law, but that's just not how it works. Courts follow actual laws, not personal theories, and a felony conviction isn't just jail time, it can take away basic rights, like voting or owning a firearm. So that wraps up this unbelievable courtroom hearing. If you found it interesting, leave a comment. Is Mr. Maloud really confused, or just trying to avoid responsibility? Don't forget to like, subscribe, my Ruling Today channel and tap the bell for more real courtroom drama. Thanks for watching, take care and see you in the next one.